It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary.
Hello, word nerds, aka dirt hurlers. What's up? What's up with your faces? What's up with you? Thank you for putting on this podcast. It's called The Dictionary, and I am Spencer. And then if you get to, if you're on Patreon, $5 or higher, you get to see my lovely hair that is getting a little too long. And I got a bit of sun yesterday. I have maybe a tiny bit of a burn. I haven't had one of those in a while. What are we talking about today? We are talking about some ELD words. ELD words. Oh, but we're going to start with ELB because the last episode had elba at the end, and our first word in this episode is elbow. Elbow. E-L-B-O-W. First form, noun from before the 12th century. It's a fantastic word. I have a distinct memory of being, I think it was summer school health class, if I remember correctly, in high school with my friend Gabe. And I don't remember the context. That maybe the teacher mentioned elbow, and he just looked at me and he said, elbow, because, you know, we just like funny things, silly words. Silly words has been a big thing in our lives, and so we just thought that was hilarious. So shout out to my friend Gabe for the word elbow. He may not have any memory of that whatsoever, but I do. I just have this image of him just going, elbow. Okay, 1A, the joint of the human arm. Well, wait a minute. The joint? The joint? Are you the joint? You got wrist. Would that be not considered a joint in the human arm? The shoulder? I mean, okay, fine. It's in the middle of the arm. It's the joint in the human arm. It makes you go that way and that way and that way and that way. 1B, something, a corresponding joint in the anterior limb of a lower vertebrate. They're so down low. I don't know what makes them lower, but they have a similar joint. Cows, dogs, elbows, horses, those goats and lambs. And pigs, I don't know. Do they all have elbows? Probably. You need a way to bend your appendage. 2, something resembling an elbow is elbow. We have examples. What resembles an elbow? Maybe macaroni or an angular pipe fitting. Don't mix those up. So yeah, plumbers, they got to put in the elbow pipes. They got to bend so they can go around corners and things. And of course, macaroni, elbow macaroni. Macaroni. It's just fun words to say. There's a phrase, at one's elbow, which means at one's side. So if you were right next to somebody, you are just right at their elbow. I don't know why you couldn't have chosen something else. You could have chosen anything on the side of your body. It's from the head to the toe, any possible thing. But maybe it's elbow. Maybe you're hooking arms. Maybe you're hooking your arms when you got to bend your elbow to hook your arms together. So maybe that's why it is. Out at elbows. We have another phrase, out at elbows or out at the elbows. That means, number 1, shabbily dressed. And number 2, short of funds. Ooh, these are fun. Okay. Out at elbow. Okay, well, the shabbily dressed one makes sense. If you're out at the elbows, maybe you got holes in your elbows. I've gotten lots of holes in my knees, in my clothes, my pants. But the elbows, how are you getting holes? Your clothes have got to be real old and real shabby to get holes in your elbows. Elbow holes. And then short of funds. Well, okay, same idea. Maybe if you're short of funds, you can't buy new clothes, and so you're just going to wear the same things for 100 years, and then you're going to get holes in the elbows. Nobody wants that. Okay, this word is from the Old English elboga, elboga? That is from the prefix el plus the Old English word boga, which means bow. Maybe like a bow and arrow. And then do we have the prefix L here? Does that mean we just have the L? There's no prefix L. I don't know what that means. It does say it's akin to L with two L's. When are we going to see that one? Oh, it's going to be a little while, I think. So means boga, bow, and more at L and bow. Yeah, L with two L's. Feel like we got to... Ooh, it's going to be a bit... Let's see, couple of weeks or so. L. Oh, I don't want to read it. What is it going to be? Ooh, okay. We'll figure that out later. So elbow is your elbow. Oh my God, that was just the first word. Sound effect. Wah, wah. Or it's a wah, wah. It's the angle of the elbow. Two different sounds coming together to make an elbow sound. The second form of elbow is a verb from 1605 starting with transitive. 1a. To push with the elbow. The synonym is jostle. So, how much pushing are we doing with our elbow? If you push somebody with your elbow, you're elbowing them. I think of it more of like a nudge, something like that. Not a push. But we got more definitions. We got 1b. To shove aside by pushing with or as if with the elbow, as in people elbowed each other to get a better view. They're pushing them out of the way because they want to get a good view of the famous celebrity who's coming out to say hello to everybody, and they want to see their beautiful face. So you got to elbow people out of the way. Maybe just elbow them in the kidney. And then that'll hurt, and then they'll go down and cry, and then you will have a good spot. Don't do that. What are you talking about? Number 2. I also liked how it said with your elbow or as if with your elbow. What else are you using that's similar to your elbow but not your elbow? You can't use any. It's just got to be your elbow. It just has to be. 2. To force as one's way by pushing with or as if with the elbow, as in elbowing our way through the crowd. So, the difference here is 1b was shoving people aside, and number 2 was force your way through. They're basically the same thing. I don't know why those had to be separated. Here's intransitive. Number 1, to advance by pushing with the elbow. So your elbow, again, how is it, who's doing the action here? That's an odd one. It seems like it would be transitive, right? Number 2, to make an angle, and the synonym is turn. So if you're just turning your car, making a turn, going from down one road, down another road, you're elbowing your car. It's the elbow of the road. Next is elbow grease. 2 words. Noun from 1672. Vigorously applied physical labor. And the other part of this is just hard work. If you're putting any hard work into a thing, you're putting some elbow grease in it. Where does the grease come from in this elbow situation? Is it coming out of the elbow? Do you need to put your elbow in some grease and then you rub it on things? Is that where the elbow grease comes from? You're working so hard that your elbow is creating grease. That's very hard work. Next is elbow room. 2 words. Noun from circa 1540. You can say elbow room or elbow rum. Do people say rum? Let's see. Elbow room. Room. Room or room? Elbow room. Now we said that. 1a. Room for moving the elbows freely. You got some elbow room if you can do this action. Woo, woo, woo. You can spin around with your elbows out. We all need elbow room. Number 1b. Adequate space for work or operation, as in a lab with plenty of elbow room. So it's not literally necessarily needing space for your elbows to be all stretched out. It's just adequate space. Do you have adequate space? You have elbow room? That's all it is. We all need our space. This is my bubble. This is your bubble. This is my elbow room space. I feel like there should be an actual room called the elbow room. Maybe in your house? Maybe at a party? Maybe, I don't know. Can we go to the elbow room? Is the elbow room open for dinner tonight? Number 2, free scope. Free scope. Hey, free scope here. Clean out your mouth. I got some free scope. As in the example, elbow room to try new ideas. You just got the whole range of possibilities open to you. The whole scope is free to do whatever you got to do. You got elbow room for days. What? Next is, it's our only ELC word, but it's not an ELC word. It's an L word and then a cheapo word. El cheapo, 2 words. You can emphasize L more or not. El cheapo or El cheapo. Adjective from 1967, and the synonyms, it's the number 3A and B definitions for the word cheap. It's just cheap. You're frugal with your money, stingy, cheap, you're El cheapo. Now, but this says it's an adjective. Interesting. Yeah, and it spells it out for us. It said it's from the Spanish word el, which means the, and the English word cheap, plus the Spanish suffix o, which is the masculine noun ending. See, that's what's confusing about this, is that makes it sound like it's a noun. The o makes it feel like it's a noun, and the word the at the beginning, Spanish el, the cheapo, the cheap, the frugal one, the stingy one. It sounds like a noun. Don't be all El cheapo on me. Eld is next. E-L-D. Noun from before the 12th century. Number 1 is just old age. So old, eld, I think that's probably the etymology connection here. It's just old age. So when I'm finishing this podcast, I will be eld. Will I have eld? Maybe I have eld. Number 2 is archaic. I mean, I kind of think the number 1 definition is a little archaic too. I don't think people are using eld too much. So number 2, archaic, it means old times, and the synonym is antiquity. Oh, way back in the elden days, the eld days, the old times, the antiquity days, when I was just a little chap, I would play with my hoops. Okay, eld, that's it, just old. Old stuff, old age, or old times. But here are more similar words that we do use more often these days. Elder, E-L-D-E-R, first form, noun, from before the 12th century. The synonym is the number 2 definition for elderberry, which is coming up in this episode. So elder, people just like, I can't say elderberry. Too many syllables. Let's just say elder. You know what I'm talking about. Let's see. This is it's basically from the Old English aldor, which means, or allor, which means alder with an A. And I don't remember what that means, but it's probably, I don't know. Should we look? Is it going to give us a little bit of information on, I love it when I find them so fast. Oh, wait, I didn't. I like, what am I trying to say? This one, we've already gone through it, but it's because it's connected to elderberry. I want to know what this allor. Oh, no, see, I was in the right spot. Darn nabbit. Alder. I think I just needed to go one more page. Oh, boy, this is terrible. Let's see. A-L-D-E-R. That's tooth leaf fruits, shrubs, birch family, catkins, woody, moist ground. It's a plant. So I guess elderberry maybe is this plant, is similar to this plant, related to this plant, something like that. We're going to talk about elderberry soon. Don't you worry a little bit at all. The second form of elder is an adjective from before the 12th century. 1. Of earlier birth or greater age, as in his elder brother. I have an elder sister because she is of earlier birth. Oh, what a fancy way to say that. Are you older than me? When were you born? I am of earlier birth. Or greater age. I mean, it's the same thing, right? Born earlier, older, greater age. It's all the same thing. So that's elder. You gotta respect your elders. Number 2, of or relating to earlier times. And the synonym is former. So, kind of like the word eld. That's where we get this from, obviously. Those olden times. Elder, those elder days. Yeah. Number 3, this is archaic. Of or relating to a more advanced time of life. Is that an older time? You are advanced in age? And why is this archaic? Do we not use it in this way? I don't know. What does 4 say? Prior or superior in rank, office, or validity. So, military, maybe your elder statesman. Politics, they say that. I've heard that be said. So it's basically just from old. It's the word old. That's where it comes from. The third form of elder is a noun from before the 12th century. So the last one was the adjective. We had elderberry, then the adjective. You're describing something as being elder, and now we have the noun. Number 1. One living in an earlier period. Way back in the 1990s, that somebody living them would be an elder. 2a. One who is older. The synonym is senior, as in a child trying to please her elders. Oh, I just want to make you happy with my little song and dance. All of you elders watching me, so amused by the younger generation. 2b. An aged person. That just means just somebody who's old. They got all the ages on them. They've gone through all the ages. You're an elder. Oh, someday. I can't wait to be old, because then it's just like, well, I don't care about anything. I'm just going to say whatever I want. Whatever. Old people, they're the best. Number 3. One having authority by virtue of age and experience, as in the village elders. As I have probably said, and you've probably heard people say so many times, they don't get enough respect. They have been through a lot. They know things. You don't know what it's like to be that age until you get to be that age. So you want to listen to them. Listen to what they have to say. Listen to their advice. At the very least, listen to their stories. Okay, maybe only once or twice. Sometimes they like to go on and on about the same stories every time. But they are the history. They have this in their brain, and then when they go, those stories, those things are gone. So I want to capture those stories. But if you can't capture them on some recording device, just listen to them and try to remember. And it's just fun to learn about the history, the way things used to be, and try not to get down on how maybe you think things might have been better. But because things change constantly. That's just the way of the world. But oh yeah, they got some good stories. Okay, where are we? We are at number 4, any of various officers of religious groups, as 4a, the number 1 definition for presbyter. I'm guessing that's an older person in the Presbyterian church, probably in the various officers in a religious group. I guess they call them elders. Presbyter. For B, a permanent officer elected by a Presbyterian congregation, and that's the end of the sentence. For C, it is the number 2 definition for the word minister. Is that one Presbyterian too? I don't know. I don't know who's got the ministers and who don't got the ministers. For D, a leader of the Shakers, and that is spelled S-H-A-K-E-R. The Shakers. The leader of the Shakers is an elder. For E, a Mormon ordained to the Melchizedek priesthood. Oh boy, that's a word I'm not familiar with. Melch, is it an L? Yes. Melchizedek priesthood. Melchizedek. Well, I'm not familiar with that, but I am familiar with the Mormons and that they call some people in their world elders. I have heard of that. Okay, are you ready for the next word? Wah, wah. Elderberry, one word, noun from 1589. 1. The edible black or red berry-like drupe of any of a genus of shrubs or trees of the honeysuckle family, bearing flat clusters of small white or pink flowers. It sounds just so beautiful and scrumptious and beautiful. Sambucus, that is the genus name, Sambucus. I wonder if it's related to, well, Sambuca is the liquor that tastes like, what is it, anise, right? And are they related, maybe? Number 2, a tree or shrub bearing elderberries. That is elderberry. There's a picture of an elderberry. It's just a black and white drawing, so I can't describe any of those colors or anything. But we've got a stalk, and then we got some leaves hanging down. They're very sort of almond shape, right? Kind of like your eyeballs. And at the top, there's a tree-shaped thing. We got some little mini stalks going, and we got some berries up there, some tiny little berries. And the berries are black or red. Now it says they're berry-like drupes, so we are not allowed to call them berries, even though it's called elderberry. Wah, wah. Next is elderly. First form, adjective from 1611, 1A, rather old. Elderly. Oh, you're looking rather old over there. Are you elderly? Especially being past middle age. Well, I'm pretty much there. I'm pretty much at middle age. So anything from now on, you can just call me elderly. It's like cats. Senior cats are considered like 7 years old. That's senior? I feel like that's just adult. But I guess anything past what is middle age anyway? I mean, back in the day, maybe it was like 30, and now is it 40? Is it 50? Is it 60? You don't know what your middle age is. You know, if you just go by averages, 35, 40, that's middle age. You're about halfway through your age, unless you know you're going to live a long time. You don't know that. You just don't know. So yes, I am getting elderly because I'm in my early 40s. Number 1B, the synonym is old-fashioned. Oh, you're so old-fashioned and elderly, wearing pants. Number 2, of, relating to, or characteristic of later life or elderly persons. It's just, you're talking about being old? That's elderly. Elderliness is a noun. The second form of elderly is a noun from 1865, and it is an elderly person. You could just call them an elderly. Look at those elderlies over there. That's a silly thing to say. Next is elder statesman. Oh, look, it's in the thing. 2 words, noun from 1904. An eminent senior member of a group or organization, especially a retired statesman who unofficially advises current leaders. I've been here for a long time, so I am going to tell you what I think you should do, because I am a man who works for the state, and I am elderly. Next is eldest. Adjective from before the 12th century. This one is of the greatest age or seniority, and the synonym is just oldest. Why? Is there certain reasons why you would use one or the other, oldest, eldest? Is it, do you have to be elderly to use eldest? Is it old to say that? I don't know. But yes, the oldest one, so there's an example. My eldest daughter. This person has 12 daughters, and then the one who was born first of the greatest age is the eldest. What was the phrase? Of earlier birth. My daughter of earlier birth is my eldest. Wah, wah. Next is eldest hand. 2 words. Noun. From circa 1597. The card player who first receives cards in the deal. Oh, I have never heard of this phrase before. I have played a whole lot of card games in my life. So the one who was dealt first, probably left of the dealer. By the way, how did that become a custom? Who decided left of the dealer? What's the story there? That seems interesting. People for many, many years always said the left is like the evil side, the sinister side. In Latin, it's sinistra. So why didn't they go to the right side? I wonder what happened there. But anyway, the first one who's dealt is the eldest hand, and I don't know what cards game used this phrase in context. Why is it used? Who uses it? Should we do a quick little Google search? Hello, Google. Google, what card games use? Type good, please. Thanks. Eldest hand. Card player. What games? Brag. Classic Brag is a 3-stake game, and players ante 3 stakes, 1 for each phase of the game. Eldest hand deals 3 cards to each player in turn, turning the ... Okay, so and euchre, maybe that uses it. Whist, Norwegian whist. Anyway, looks like there's some games that use the phrase eldest hand. Wah, wah. The last word is El Dorado. 2 words, capital E-L. Second word, capital D-O-R-A-D-O. El Dorado. I'm going to read the definition. It is a noun from 1596, only 1 year before eldest hand. Number 1, a city or country of fabulous riches held by 16th century explorers to exist in South America. So 16th century explorers were the ones who said that this existed in South America, or might exist, or does exist. What is it? A city or a country with fabulous riches, darling. El Dorado. Number 2, a place of fabulous wealth or opportunity. So you could just call any place that has lots of wealth, lots of opportunity for people to get jobs and do fun things with their life. That's called an El Dorado. Well, those are all the definitions for that one. The phrase El Dorado is Spanish, and it literally means the gilded one. The gilded with gold, maybe. Maybe that's the word. That's where the word gilded comes from. The word gold. You put the gold on it, and it is gilded. Okay, hey, let's reread the words and pick a word of the episode. We had elbow, elbow, elbow grease, elbow room, El Cheapo, eld, elder, 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 elderberry, elderly, elderly, elder statesman, eldest, eldest hand, and El Dorado. Is that even the right word for that song? Okay, which one am I going to pick? I think I want to pick elbow grease as the word of the episode. I'm working so hard, I'm using my elbow grease. This is just a one-line song. Those are the best songs. Okay, I need to tell you about another movie I watched, so let's bring up the list. Bring up the good old list. Let's see. Okay, Theater Camp. Theater Camp. We saw Theater Camp in the theater, and it is a very fun movie. It's like, I wonder how much of it was improvised. Well, I went to Theater Camp, not exactly like this, also like 35 years earlier than this movie was made. But they just capture what theater camp is in like a certain part of the theater camp world, and it's so silly and funny, and they're all so talented, and I think they just had a blast making this movie. And it's like a mockumentary. It's a mockumentary. Let's say that, and it's just very fun and silly, and has some really great songs in there too. Songs and dances, and it's fun, and you should watch it. That is the end of this episode. Thank you very much for listening, possibly watching. Hello to my one patron, and goodbye. This has been Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye-bye.